Let's talk about how we learn. We usually think of it as this solo mission, right? A little light bulb just clicks on inside your head. But what if I told you that the best, most powerful kind of learning isn't a solo act at all? What if it's actually a team sport? That's exactly the idea we're diving into today. Think about a little kid trying to solve a puzzle. The classic image is that they're just sitting there, figuring it all out by themselves, piece by piece, trial and error. That's the story we tell. But we're about to flip that story on its head, thanks to a psychologist named Lev Vygotsky, who saw things completely differently. Okay, so here's the fundamental clash. On one side, you've got the traditional view. You have to develop first, you have to mature on the inside, and then you can learn. It's an inside-out job. But Vygotsky came along and said, nope, you've got it backward. He believed learning is an outside-in process, driven by our interactions with other people, and that this interaction actually pulls our development forward.
And this brings us right to the heart of Vygotsky's outside-in revolution. It really does turn the whole traditional model of learning upside down.
So, Vygotsky's big idea is this. Our ability to think, to reason, to plan, none of that just magically appears as we get older. It's built. It's constructed from the outside in. We get these tools for thinking from our parents, our teachers, our culture, and then, and only then, do we make them our own. Which leads to this powerful idea he called the general genetic law of cultural development. And it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. Think about any complex skill you have. Maybe it's debating a point, or even just telling a good story. It first existed between you and someone else, in a conversation. It happens on a social level first, before it ever becomes a part of your own internal thought process.
So, you might be wondering, okay, how does this social learning stuff actually work? Well, Vygotsky didn't just leave us with a theory, he gave us a practical toolkit. And it has three main parts: the MKO, the ZPD, and scaffolding.
First up, we have the more knowledgeable other, or MKO. Now, the key thing to get here is that this isn't just a fancy term for a teacher. An MKO can be anyone or anything with more expertise than you on a specific task. It could be your boss, sure, but it could also be a classmate who gets that one math concept, or even a YouTube tutorial. Now, this MKO does its best work in a very specific place, the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. You can think of this as the magic window for learning. It's not the stuff you can already do easily, and it's not the stuff that's way over your head. The ZPD is that perfect sweet spot, the things you can almost do on your own, but you just need a little nudge, a little bit of help to get there. That's where the real growth happens. And what is that little bit of help? Well, Vygotsky called it scaffolding. Just like the scaffolding on a building, this support is meant to be temporary. It's the hints, the clues, the encouragement, whatever the MKO does to help you cross that ZPD. And then, once you can do it on your own, that scaffolding comes down. The absolute best way to see this all come together is learning to ride a bike, right? The parent is the more knowledgeable other. That wobbly, uncertain phase where you keep tipping over, that is your zone of proximal development. The parent holding the back of the seat and running alongside you, that's the scaffolding. And then they let go. And suddenly, that skill that was once sharing between two people is now yours. It's been internalized. Now, Vygotsky believed that the single most important tool in this whole process, the ultimate psychological tool, was language. For him, language wasn't just about communication, it's what literally builds our minds. He saw it happening in three basic stages. First, we have social speech, just talking to other people. Then, something interesting happens. We start talking to ourselves, out loud. You see little kids doing this all the time, narrating what they're doing. That's private speech, and it's basically self-guidance. And eventually, that external chatter goes quiet. It moves inside and becomes our inner speech, our silent thoughts. And this is the bottom line, the huge insight. For Vygotsky, language doesn't just reflect what we're thinking, it creates and structures our thinking. The conversations we have out in the world become the very architecture of the conversations we have in our own heads. Okay, so this is all fascinating, but it's not just some old theory stuck in a textbook. Vygotsky's ideas are everywhere, from the way we run our classrooms to the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. Just look at a modern classroom. When you see collaborative group work, what's really happening? Well, students with different strengths are becoming MKOs for each other. They're providing natural scaffolding and operating right in that ZPD. It's Vygotsky's theory put into brilliant practice.
So let's just circle back for a second to our friend, the more knowledgeable other. Remember, it's any guide with a higher level of knowledge or skill. And get this, today,
That guide can absolutely be an AI. Think about it. An AI tutor can be the ultimate MKO. It can figure out a student's ZPD with incredible accuracy and provide the perfect dynamic scaffolding, giving a hint just when it's needed and backing off when it's not. It's like Vygotsky was writing a blueprint for technology that he couldn't have even imagined.
So what does this all add up to? What's the big idea we should walk away with? For me, it's a completely different and way more optimistic view of what humans are capable of.
It all comes back to this one number, 2. Every important skill, every higher function, appears twice. First, it's social, shared between people. Then, it becomes individual, a part of you. This means your potential isn't some fixed thing you're born with. It's dynamic. It's constantly being created in your interactions with others.
And so, that really leaves us with one final question to think about. What's in your zone of proximal development right now? What's that thing you can almost do? That skill you're so close to mastering that's just waiting for the right person, the right guide, or the right conversation to help you make it your own?